Hey everybody, we'll get started here in a second. Long time no see. It's good to be back in New York. I was in Miami longer than expected, but it's good to be back. Good to see all of you. And we'll get started here momentarily. DC322 Alan, what's up? Good to see you. As always, Melissa Rose, what's up? Lark, cheers. You know, I thought by the time I got back that Park Avenue would be, what's it called, completely paved. Seems like that's still a work in progress, but we'll see. Doc 7, I see Robert Parker. What's up, everybody? We'll just give it another minute. We'll wait till some people get in. But a lot to talk about. We'll talk about Tesla. I'm sure all of you were tuning into the Tesla earnings report, which absolutely crushed. As you know, I am very bullish on Tesla. I think the stock bottomed back in April. We have a lot to talk about as it relates to Tesla tonight. Not just about the EVs, the autos, but mainly about the energy business, the energy storage business. I mean, there's so much bullishness happening over at our friends at Tesla. Yeah, Rocket Mob, Tesla, MicroStrategy, and Bitcoin. All performing pretty well, you're correct. Check out this stunning view of 432 Park. Hey, what's up, Oscar? What's up? All right, before we get started, we can just do our quick audio and visual check. So if you guys can hear us and if we're streaming in 1080p, just go ahead and leave a thumbs up in the chat and we'll get started. Once again, good to see everybody. Hopefully you're doing well. Lots to talk about, lots to go over. Tons of news, tons and tons of news to talk about. Solo 401, what's up? Doing pretty good. Just landed back in New York yesterday. Here's that Four Seasons hotel we were talking about. That's set to reopen here on Billionaires Row. Well, it looks like the audio and the visual are good. So I think we'll go ahead and get started. So good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Walks on Wall Street after about a week hiatus, I think. Maybe 5 days, 6 days, who knows. Today is October 24th. It is a Thursday, 2024. And this earnings season has really been chugging along here. Monster beat by Tesla. And one of the things I really want to talk about tonight as it relates to Tesla was something we've been forecasting for quite some time, which is the return of margin expansion. Hey, good to see you. The thing with Tesla is that the stock got hammered because Elon, well, one of the main reasons, right? Elon and team had to start cutting prices on vehicles to be price competitive. And that took a real toll on gross margin of their products. Now, if you notice, if you do a 3-month look back, or not a 3-month look back, a 3-quarter look back, you'll start to see margins slowly but surely recovering here. Not only on the auto front, but I mean, just talk about the energy storage front. 50% revenue growth in the energy and storage generation business on 30.5% margins. That's going to be a multi-billion-dollar business for Tesla alone, which I think a lot of analysts on the street are not talking about. You know, everyone just wants to focus on Tesla as the auto OEM, but there's so many other businesses that are going to be generating so much free cash for the company at extremely, extremely high margins, right? And as you think about, you know, many of the things we've been talking about, particularly the age of AI, that it's going to require so much energy to essentially put on these products and services. Oops, hold on one second. I gotta turn on my do not disturb mode. You know, energy is gonna be the main driver for AI. We talked about how Alphabet, Amazon, and Microsoft were investing in nuclear reactors to power data centers. It's funny, T-Mobile, not to kind of derail the conversation, but T-Mobile also reported earnings today, I think before the bell. Monster quarter, monster quarter. And T-Mobile has been really one of the only telecom companies that I believe gets 100% of their power to operate their network from renewable resources. So that company's crushing as well. So as we think to the future, speaking of Tesla, here's a Tesla taxi. One of the main things we need to be looking at is how are we going to get all this power to essentially operate data centers and all these AI tools. Well, Tesla is in that game. They're not in the nuclear space, but they are in the battery storage space and energy generating space. So monster report for Tesla. I think the stock was up 10% after hours, and then it rallied an additional 10% intraday today. I think it closed at the dead high of the day for Tesla, up almost 20%. And I think, you know, as we've been writing about, I really do believe this stock has bottomed in April. And you're going to start to see earnings accelerate here. You're going to see more margin expansion. I think the Cybertruck now is profitable. So there's a lot to look forward to here. And there's a lot of people on Wall Street on the wrong side of this trade as they've been piling short on Tesla, just as margins are starting to expand yet again. Keep in mind, by the way, I believe Tesla is sitting on about 35 billion in cash and equivalents. That's massive, okay? So the company is very well capitalized. There's been a lot of bears on Wall Street thinking that the company is a fraud, it's gonna go to zero. They got a ton of cash. The future looks very, very bright. And their businesses are really rocking and starting to recover. So anyway, with that out of the way, let me go ahead and say hello to everybody in the chat. I see PD55, cheers. I see Hawaii, what's up? Long time no see. Harry Connors here. Alexander M, always a pleasure. Solo 401. Robert Parker is here. Reggie 44. DC 322. Youssef, welcome. Darren, this is the Apple Store here. The main flagship. Crypto meme. Cheers. Speaking of crypto, as it relates to Tesla, they still have all their Bitcoin. They have not sold any of their Bitcoin. It's funny, I was looking through some SEC filings today. A little bit of breaking news. I think this just dropped about 2 hours ago. It's not huge news, but it does have to do with what we're talking about. Microsoft, the board is going to vote, I think sometime in December. I mean, you guys could Google this for yourself. I briefly just saw this. The board is going to vote if they are going to put Bitcoin on Microsoft's balance sheet. And I think that vote is going to be sometime in December. So you're just starting to see this, okay? I know a lot of people don't like me talking about it. I know it's a very polarizing topic. Some people hate it, but you got to be paying attention, okay? It started with MicroStrategy. then, big major companies like Tesla are starting to put Bitcoin on the balance sheet. It's only a matter of time before every single company in the Mag 7, okay, this is my prediction, there will come a time over the next 5 years where every single company in the Mag 7 will have an allocation of Bitcoin on the balance sheet. It's just going to happen, okay? It happens very, very slowly, and then it happens all at once. So just keep tabs on that. Just Google Microsoft Bitcoin board vote. I believe it's sometime in December. We shall see. Now, to be fair, right, not to just be like ultra optimist, the consensus is that they're going to vote it down. Is that the board is going to say, no, we don't want to put an allocation to Bitcoin. Maybe they don't. Maybe they will. We'll just have to see. Patrice 2020, what's going on? Always a pleasure. Larry Adams says they will add Bitcoin. I don't know. I think they should, in my opinion. Larry T says T-Mobile and the Solana phone. The future is here. Not too sure what that means. But I am a big fan of T-Mobile. I think the CEO, Mike Sievert, is doing a fantastic job. Lots of traffic here. Maybe we'll head north for now. Now, I spent a while of my career at Sprint, working for Sprint Business. And I actually worked through the merger when Sprint and T-Mobile merged. And that merger, which was pretty much just an acquisition, to be honest, it was pretty much just T-Mobile taking over Sprint, because Sprint was not viable to stand on their own 2 feet. But it is without a doubt, unequivocally, T-Mobile is best positioned to build out a true 5G network. I've been saying this for quite some time. They got the mother load, so to speak, of spectrum from the merger with Sprint. Tons of mid-band spectrum. It's just Sprint didn't have the capital resources to deploy it to actually build out a network. T-Mobile is very, very, let's just say, financially sound in their footing. So they don't have to go into the marketplace. For those of you who don't know Telecom, generally speaking, these big telecom companies have to go buy spectrum from what's called a spectrum auction. So the government actually auctions off spectrum, and it costs billions and billions of dollars. It's huge capex for these companies. But T-Mobile got a hell of a deal by merging with Sprint, because it just so happens that Sprint had a ton of that lucrative mid-band spectrum to build out a really robust network. So T-Mobile's firing on all cylinders. And it's interesting, the last thing I'll say about T-Mobile, many investors out there say, I want to only buy stocks that pay dividends. I only want to buy stocks that pay dividends. Well, oftentimes, okay, companies that pay very, very high dividends are huge red flags, and it's probably best to never own those stocks. As it relates to the telecom sector, go ahead and look at the past 10 years of performance of ticker symbol TMUS, which is T-Mobile, and then ticker symbol T, which is the ticker symbol for AT&T. And AT&T is what used to be called, a dividend aristocrat. Massive dividend yield, but the stock is a piece of you-know-what. And so is the company. I mean, not to be super harsh, but if I were to bet on a horse in the telecom race in the United States, it's T-Mobile. They're just going to crush it. They really have to do a little bit better in the enterprise space, which is selling into, Fortune 500, Fortune 50, Global 2000 customers, which will come. But they have retail dominated, in my opinion. I'm actually curious what many of you think in the audience. Do any of you have T-Mobile? Good experiences with them, bad experiences with them? What are your thoughts? Because, as someone who worked there, who worked on some of their IoT platforms, who worked in enterprise sales, they are unequivocally the best in telecom in my view. Alan says, I've been a customer for 10 years, nothing but good things to say. Reggie44 says exactly. DC322 says, but T-Mobile may have to surpass Verizon. I mean, in full transparency, I have Verizon for my personal phone, which is kind of funny being that I worked at Sprint/T-Mobile. But yeah, that's who I'm betting on. And I still actually have some stock from when I worked at the company, which is, I mean, since I was there, it's gone up literally 100%, maybe even a little bit more. Emmanuel says T-Mobile here. They are used in SpaceX as well. John Casey says retired from Verizon, always had T-Mobile as my service. That's hilarious. So we're like, John, we're like the exact opposite. You are a legacy Verizon employee. I'm legacy Sprint, but I've always had Verizon and you've always had T-Mobile. That's actually freaking hilarious. Stan, what's going on? Mikey G says, didn't T-Mobile start as a buy here, pay here company? I'm not too sure. Buy here, pay here company. Jeff in Southern Tier, New York says, I tried T-Mobile but switched back to Verizon. T-Mobile service here in upstate stinks. Yeah, I would say, you know, if you're in a very high density area, like the New York City tri-state area, you're probably going to be okay with whatever carrier. But if you're more rural, like upstate New York, Verizon's probably going to be your best bet. But honestly, I haven't really had any issues with Verizon. I really haven't. I mean, sometimes we have buffering here, but it's not too bad. Oh, Alan says you're in the Kansas City area. Well, that makes sense, right? Because I don't know if you know this. So Sprint, not to make the whole stream about Telecom, but they did report earnings today. But Sprint, their main headquarters was in Overland Park, Kansas. I used to take a lot of business trips over there. I would never want to live in Overland Park, but it was a nice place. And they kept the main campus, and it is now the T-Mobile headquarters in Overland Park, which I believe is very close to Kansas City. So it makes sense. I would hope that their service is really good there. Hey, New England Crypto, good to see you. Cheers to you. Now, I think Bitcoin is trading at what? 67.5. It's still trying to break out of that cup with handle base. I'm not sure if you just joined or not, but we do have some breaking news from Microsoft. They've submitted a form to the SEC saying that they are going to vote sometime in December if they're going to make an out. We talked about before, because I've been involved in Bitcoin since 2014, right? I mean, I remember when, it's just very, very crazy. I remember when Bitcoin hit $1,000. We were like, whoa, it's $1,000, and then $18,000 in 2017. And I remember like paying very, very close attention to the financial media in every single bull cycle since 2014. And you would have most of the talking heads and the pundits in 2014, 2015 coming on and saying that it's a scam. The only person that I remember from 2014, 2015 coming on any type of financial television talking positive about Bitcoin was Chamath. And for those of you who don't know who Chamath is, he is the founder of Social Capital, and I believe he was one of the first 10 employees at Facebook. But then, if you fast forward to 2016, there's a really, really well-respected analyst who I like very, very much. You'll know him, you'll see him on CNBC all the time. His name is Tom Lee, Thomas Lee, not the drummer, Tom Lee. Our clients have some sort of an allocation to Bitcoin. And now, generally speaking, everybody is saying we recommend our clients have some sort of an allocation. But right now, that allocation is 1 or 2%. My view is over time, as more of these ETF products get approved, for example, the spot Bitcoin ETF from BlackRock, ticker symbol IBIT, you're going to start to see Larry Fink come out here and saying, hey, we're recommending all of our institutional clients, high net worth individual clients, have a 5% allocation. Imagine if all the major wealth managers from UBS, Goldman Sachs, all the boutiques, right, tell their clients to have a 5% allocation. I mean, it's going to be, you do the math. Okay, everyone, the reason why we're right here is this is the main valet to Steinway Tower. Check this out. So this building that we're looking at right now is the skinniest residential apartment building in the entire world. But this is the main garage that is completely private. I thought the garage was going to be open today, but I've always liked to give you guys a quick peek on the inside just so you can see kind of what it looks like in there. Hey, Clara is here. What's up? Good evening, everybody. Cheers. Thanks for joining. You can see the Steinway and Sons right here. That's from 111 West 57th Street. Look at the inside. It's just a stunning, stunning building. Everything is super meticulously done. And walking past it, you would never really know this is here. All these beautiful moldings. Really nice tile work on the floor. And that is the car elevator. So you really never have to even go on the street. It's totally private. Hey, John Smith is here. Says, hey, Tom, do you think the 2 elevators in that building is really an issue? I don't think so. I mean, in some buildings, what I like to tell clients sometimes is, depending on the amount of units in the building, right? Some developers can really cheap out on the elevators, which is a massive problem. Like, let's say it's a new development, and let's say there's over 150 units in the building. If there's only 2 elevator banks servicing 150 units, that could be a problem. You know, you may notice that. You may be waiting a long time for the elevator. But the thing about Steinway Tower, there's only 60 units in the building. And the vast majority of people who own at Steinway, they don't live there all year round. So if you are one of those people who do live in the building all year round, you're not going to notice any delay in the elevator. That's kind of my view. Hey, sunshine after rain, good to see you. Austin City Limits, welcome. Hey, Professor Dario, thanks for joining us. Let's try to walk back over to, we'll go to 7th Avenue and head down. This is right in the front of 157. What's going on? Cheers. But you know, in general, you know, we talked about Tesla, just really, really monster earnings report. I would recommend, if you have not yet gone to Tesla's investor relations website and look through the earnings deck, I think that should be very, very high on your list of things to do this weekend, because it's very, very important. We've written about Tesla many, many times. It is true that once these monster stocks top, very, very seldom do they go on and make new highs again. But Tesla has been the outlier. After Tesla has dropped 70% plus over 2 times, it's gone on to make a new record high. And Tesla, you know, stocks have different personalities. And for Tesla, it has a very, very similar correction pattern in both price So in terms of the percentage basis that the stock falls, but also duration, it has a very, very similar pattern in terms of the length of the duration of bear markets. And we are getting very, very long in the tooth, or I should say, we're coming up to parity of when Tesla usually ends its bull market in terms of number of days. If you want to read that exact report, you can just check out our newsletter, the Behind the Street newsletter. We've written about it. And it always tends to cooperate with some sort of catalyst. And I think this time it's a twofold catalyst for Tesla. Okay. Number one was the 10/10 robo-taxi day, October 10th, 2024, the massive robo-taxi event, which I thought was a screaming success. And number two, the most recent corporate earnings report that we just got out that showed a massive recovery in gross margins across the board in all of their business segments, from autos to the power generation and storage business, as well as services. You're starting to see margins tick up here again. If you go, what I was impressed with the most, right, not to hammer on Tesla, but I think this is very, very important because we're at a pivotal point in the stock. You now have over 30% margins on the fastest growing business segment at Tesla. Okay, I'll say that again. You now have 30% plus margins, right? To be exact, it's 30.5% margins on the energy storage business that had 50% plus year-over-year revenue growth, right? If that business really, really takes off, I mean, that could be a standalone multi-billion-dollar company in and of itself, just the energy business. Just the power and the storage business at Tesla alone. So people can hate on the vehicles all they want. People can say that Elon is a fraud. You know, he's a Trump supporter, so I'm never going to buy any of his products. But the more polarizing the investment, we've talked about this before. If you go to my Twitter page, at Walks Wall Street on X, I actually posted something today where usually the more polarizing the investment, the more volatile and the better it performs, for whatever reason. So I'll give you a slight example here as we kind of walk past Central Park Tower / the Nordstrom Tower. Seems like a lot of people out tonight too. Maybe there was some sort of an event. Hey, hang with Mark Mom, always a pleasure. Welcome back to New York City. I've been in Miami for quite some time, so it's good to be back. So I posted something on X. If you were to go up to somebody on the street and ask them their opinion on Tesla, or really anybody, right, on the internet, you're either going to get somebody who is head over heels in love with the company. They think Tesla's going to cure cancer. They think it's going to save the environment. They think Elon Musk is the next, coming of Jesus. And then you have the exact opposite, where people hate Elon Musk. They think he's a fraudster. They think he's a grifter. They think he's an egotistical maniac. They think Tesla is a pump and dump scheme. They think that, Elon Musk is an ultra-right MAGA extremist that's going to destroy the country, right? There's no in between with Tesla, okay? And when you have that magic elixir on top of a company that has good fundamentals, earnings growth, very, very strong pre-tax, after-tax margins, revenue growth, that is just a freaking, Mentos in Coca-Cola explosion, okay? Massive volatility, massive movements. I mean, people who owned, if you had some sort of like ratio spread or call back spread on Tesla, I think the 240, the 250s, or the 265 strike calls were up about 900%. So it's the same thing with Bitcoin, right? If you ask somebody about Bitcoin, it's either they're head over heels in love with it, they think it's going to save the financial system, or on the other side, they think it's a Ponzi scheme, they think it should be banned, they think that, Vladimir Putin is the one who created it to control the world, and look at the massive price swings and the pressure cooker that is Bitcoin. So pay very close attention to the polarizing investments, and if you can keep a level head and evaluate the market and get some skin in the game and don't let your politics get in the way, you're going to do very well. So I think this is go time. I've said it before with gold, right? As gold was breaking out of that base, gold is now what, $2,600 an ounce, maybe $2,700 an ounce. I personally think it's go time for Bitcoin. I think it's going to break out of this cup with handle base. 2025 will probably have six-figure Bitcoin, and I think Tesla bottomed in April. That is my view. I think if you had, you want to have everything lining up, right? The bull thesis for Tesla is that earnings are starting to ramp. Margins are starting to improve in a massive way yet again. They have tons of headway and tons of runway, I should say, for autonomous vehicles, robo-taxis, Optimus. So there's so much to look forward to in the future, while you have a large percentage of Wall Street and Main Street that hate the guy meaning Elon Musk, and hate the company. They think there's people out there still that think the company is a total fraud. So I think those three things, gold, Bitcoin, Tesla, even though I don't like buying stocks with a huge overhead supply, it's been go time for Tesla, and I think this earnings report just solidified that fact. I don't know, anybody have any disagreements? Anyone have any different perspectives or different takes? I just try to analyze all the data. I try to look to the future. What are we going to need, right? We're going to need tons and tons of energy to power AI, and we're going to need to do it in a sustainable way so we don't kill the environment. And you can identify all these trends. Tesla is a leader in renewables, clean energy, and we talked about the nuclear power sector as getting a real big bid as well. Dave is here, says Elon is okay. I don't make judgments. Sup says, hello Tom, what do you think about GameStop over the next couple months? Thanks, I have no idea about GameStop. Clarence Jackson says, I was at Bloomberg event yesterday. I missed the chance to buy TSLS or TSLL 2x Tesla minutes before the earnings report. I did not want to chase the stock. Now, yeah, it's funny, Clarence, because it's similar action. We talked about Netflix. Anybody remember last week when Netflix reported and they absolutely crushed on earnings and they gapped up into all-time record highs? Many people say, I don't want to chase the stock, but it reminds me of way back in the day during the pandemic when I was trading a company called Twilio. I'm not sure if anyone knows the company. It's actually a pretty big company. Jeff is the CEO, Jeff Lawson. That was a monster gap up on earnings. I think the stock was up 26% after hours, ran an additional 5% into the close. Those are really signs of lockout rallies, and I think you can probably get in there and hammer that. Hey, Peter's here. What's up? Brad's brain says, Tom, you have an idea about GameStop. Well, here's the thing. And I think this is a really good lesson even for myself. I have a really, really good friend of mine that's kind of acted as, a mentor in my investments in trading. He's a really good guy, Jim Ropel. He's the CEO and founder of Ropel Capital Management. He started off his career on Wall Street, working at Morgan Stanley. He built a massive book at Morgan Stanley, and then he broke off and started his own hedge fund. He has two main funds. He runs a large cap growth fund, manages about $250 million. The small cap fund is at about $100 million, and then he has a crypto fund. And as it relates to, all these stocks, what do you think about this stock? What do you think about that stock? He always says, focus on the quality, right? Why would I even think about GameStop or any of these penny stocks when we have so much merchandise on the market that's generating tons of free cash, that is generating massive amounts of earnings power, that's increasing sales consistently, that is coming off 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 consecutive beat and raise earnings reports? Why would I focus on the dog shit excuse my language, when I have the cream of the crop best American companies that are generating massive earnings? Like, you have a choice in the market, right? You could buy anything you want. You could scrape the bottom of the barrel and buy companies that have no earnings, no sales, is in a teeny tiny total addressable market. Or you can buy America's greatest companies that generate billions upon billions of dollars in net income every single quarter, and that are growing their businesses at 20% year over year, right? So you have a choice. Don't get caught up, and that's not to trash GameStop or any of these penny stocks. It's just to say, look, you work very, very hard for your money. I'm sure everybody here has a 9-to-5 job, like I do. We work very hard to make our money. We trade our time for money. So why would I then turn around and piss my money away on GameStop? It's ridiculous, right? And I'm not picking on GameStop or, XYZ penny stock, right? I want to allocate my money to a good steward of the money who is leading a company that's generating earnings, that's focused on margin expansion, and that's showing good profitability and growth. So always think about that when you're thinking about an investment, right? Take the money seriously and say, look, I work hard for this money, and I'm going to allocate it accordingly to companies and businesses that are actually profitable and are growing their earnings, right? If you look, there's a really good book, Seth Klarman's Margin of Safety. Really, really good book. And this is one of the main things he talks about in the book is earnings power, earnings growth, and free cash flow. Like, what are the things that are going to drive a stock higher and create shareholder value over the long term? It's earnings, right? It's earnings power, free cash flow. That is the name of the game. So focus on those companies. And there's no shortage of companies in the US and abroad that are very, very profitable and that are growing their earnings. Hey, what's up, Phil? Says, go ahead, Musk, and keep alienating a huge portion of people that would have previously bought your cars that now look for other options. I actually agree with Phil 100%. I agree with Phil 100%. And I think Phil makes an amazing point. An amazing point. And we kind of touched on that. Like, do I understand? Like, in full disclosure, I'm a huge fan of Elon Musk. Huge fan. But at the same time, I'm also a rational person. I try to understand everybody else's feelings. And I can 100% understand how some people do not like Elon Musk. They think he has a huge ego. They may not agree with his politics, right? Elon Musk has been very, very vocal about his support for President Trump. Some people don't like President Trump, right? So that's going to rub you the wrong way. He's a very, very headstrong, outspoken, loose cannon. And I totally understand that. But that's also kind of what's created a massive following, almost like cult-like fan base for Elon Musk. Right? If you go to some Tesla Reddit threads, kind of like what we were touching on briefly before, some of these people are like, it's a religion. Tesla is their religion. Elon Musk is their religion. So it's a pressure cooker on both sides, which I think, right, anecdotally, is maybe what's turbocharging a lot of these returns. But to Phil's point, is there a possibility that Elon and Tesla could kind of come full circle to those customers that he's alienated, to use Phil's words. Is there any way to win those customers back? Is there any way to bring those customers back that would have bought a Tesla, but maybe now they're buying another EV? Maybe they're going to buy a Lucid. I don't know. Is there a way, is it possible for Elon to win any of those customers back? And I don't have that answer. I don't know. I would like to say yes. As a Tesla shareholder, I would like to say yes. But I don't know. Phil says it's the Mach-E for me. I actually really like that. That's the new Ford Mustang. It's a good choice. It's a good choice, for sure. Mark Francis 076 says no shot.
Sorry.
Maybe there's not. You never know. Brad's brain says, judging by Rivian stock, they're definitely not buying Rivian. Paul says people are too emotionally bothered, hard to come back from that. I get it. I mean, some people feel really strongly in their political beliefs. And look, people are entitled to that. It's a free country. It's a free market, right? No one's forcing you to buy a Tesla. If you don't agree with what Elon says, maybe you don't agree with his political beliefs, you don't have to buy the car. You can take your money elsewhere. And I get it. That's capitalism. That's free market. So those are the consequences he's going to have to deal with, for sure. Carlos says, I don't have anything good to say about Musk. See, we have people in here that are not big fans, and I respect that. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. All right, everyone. Here we are again at the beautiful Lincoln Center. Really, really stunning. Hey, Patient Lobster, what's going on? Says, I think we might see a big shock post-election. Now, it's interesting because if we use history as our guide, we're supposed to see the shock before the election, but it doesn't really seem like we have, which is pretty strange. Oh, just as a quick reminder for everybody, since we've been away, we did send out our free investing newsletter to everybody on Thursday. So we talked about a lot. So go ahead and scan the QR code on your screen, punch in your email, and that'll take you to our latest investing newsletter. I sent it out last Thursday. We talked about a lot. We did a little bit of a preface on earnings season, and I think it's very, very important that everybody read that. So go ahead and check it out if you have not already. It's getting a little bit chilly, so let's head back into Midtown. Yeah, Brad's brain says if you're investing in Musk, you have to look past EVs. I think there's enough people that like Musk where it's not really impacting, I mean, it's probably impacting sales, but I mean, I've been seeing more and more Cybertrucks all over. Instant Defense says, I like your show. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. Hey, Donna says, oh my God, I'll be right there walking those streets in a few weeks. So excited. Very nice. Yeah, this is an awesome neighborhood in Manhattan. This is right as you're about to head to the Upper West Side. You have Lincoln Center here, Juilliard. It's quite nice. We're near Fordham University. It's quieter up here. You know, it's more calm, more quiet. Michael G says, hey Tom, glad to have you back. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I'm glad to be back. I was in Miami for much longer than expected. But speaking of CEOs, it's very, very important. Like if we do a post-analysis, right, of every single major stock that has really crushed it, what we can all agree on is that whether you like the CEO or not, he or she has been very, very well known. They've been extremely smart, extremely capable. I kind of liken it to betting on a horse. Like, you're going to bet on your jockey, right? Mark Zuckerberg, right? Total operator, amazing. At the time with Amazon, you had Jeff Bezos. The guy was a total operator, total stud of a CEO. Andy Jassy is the same thing, right? Steve Jobs with Apple, right? Before he unfortunately passed. Now even Tim Cook, right? These are iconic. Benioff would be another one, of Salesforce.com. These are the types of people that you want to be betting on. It's almost as if you're not really investing in the business. You are, right? But you're investing in the person. Again, to be a good steward of that money, to drive shareholder value long term. And it's undeniable that Steve Jobs, Bill Gates when he was at Microsoft, Jeff Bezos when he was at Amazon, drove a massive, massive, massive amount of shareholder value and really became household names. And whether you like Elon Musk or not, I totally respect everybody who doesn't like the guy. Totally respect it. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But I think we could both agree that the guy's a total operator. All-star, rock star CEO. Multiple companies, SpaceX, Tesla, the Boring Company. I mean, the guy is an operator, right? And those are the people that you really want to be allocating your money with. But I'm not saying go buy Tesla stock or invest with Elon Musk, but think about those characteristics, right? You could even do your own post-analysis or study on a CEO, right? Go back, this would be like a good, market and investing history lesson. Research all of the companies that have had the best returns, and chances are they have had a rock star CEO. We'll kind of, shift gears from talking about tech and talk about finance and banking. JP Morgan Chase. The CEO of JP Morgan Chase is now a household name. Jamie Dimon, right? He is probably one of the most well-respected figures on Wall Street. He will probably have a role in government. That is my prediction. Whether, President or current Vice President Kamala Harris, if she is elected with VP Tim Walz, my prediction is that Jamie Dimon will have some sort of involvement there. If Donald Trump or former President Trump or J.D. Vance is elected, Jamie Dimon will probably have some sort of a shoe into the administration, either as advisory, helping out, or something. But he's a well-respected guy. And look at JP Morgan Chase stock price. All-time record highs, the most powerful Wall Street mega bank in the entire world. So it's very important, right? Again, going back to, all these meme stocks and nonsense, you gotta really make sure the investment has what I like to call a magic elixir. The earnings growth, the revenue growth, the pre-tax, the after-tax margins, and a rock star CEO. So this is the corner of West 61st Street and Broadway. This is 15 Central Park West. Speaking of banking, this is where the former CEO of Goldman Sachs resides, Lloyd Blankfein, who made a little bit of a cameo on Walks on Wall Street about 2 weeks ago. I always like to bring that up now. I mean, that's another rock star CEO. I mean, Lloyd didn't get the best press, particularly during the 2008 financial crisis, but He is a rock star trader. But look at how gorgeous the main valet is at 15 Central Park West. This is like such a well done property. 99 says, how did he make a cameo? We bumped into him while we were streaming. I said, hey Lloyd, how are you? He was right here. He was right here on the corner. He's a nice guy. Speaking of Tesla, look at this red Cybertruck. You have a matte black, or excuse me, a matte red Cybertruck? I don't know. I mean, I'm usually very positive about Cybertrucks in general. I don't know if the red works. What do you guys think? Thumbs up or thumbs down on the red Cybertruck? I've actually never seen a Cybertruck in red, particularly matte red. I don't know, I like matte black a little bit better. I'm gonna say thumbs up on the Cybertruck, thumbs down on the wrap, I guess. Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of the wrap on it. I don't know. Yeah, NEV 407. Professor Dedillo says you like it. Carlos Silva. Amy T, what's up? Yeah, Lisa Davis is black is a little bit better. Wagon says don't like matte. Have a friend with a matte Tesla. I don't know, I think the matte looks a little bit better. Who knows? But I've really started to see an acceleration. Not to get back on the Tesla topic, but it's important. You know, I always think about this book. If you're interested in an investing book, I've been having a few people reach out to me via email talking about, you know, different investing books. One of which is really good. It's by one of the greatest mutual fund managers of all time. His name is Peter Lynch. He wrote a book called One Up on Wall Street. And one of the basic principles of that book is just to pay attention, right? Walk around, pay attention. What are people driving? What are people wearing? What are people buying? What are they consuming? What are your kids doing? What is your wife doing? What is your husband doing? Just pay attention, right? Don't have your head in the sand, pay attention. And I've been seeing an explosion of Cybertrucks in the city, in Miami, and in the most recent earnings report for Tesla, which was yesterday, quite literally, Cybertruck is now profitable. Cybertruck is profitable, and it's selling well. So, KML is here. What's up, KML? Carlos is red is good. Matt is better, in my opinion. Hey, what's up, Vladimir? Says, who is hyped for JRE tomorrow? So I heard about that, but I've been falling for fake news too much. So I don't even know if that's true. Is that true? Is former President Trump going to be on the Joe Rogan Experience tomorrow? I saw a bunch of posts on X that he was, then I saw he's not, then I saw people saying that Kamala Harris is going to be on, and then posts saying that she's not going to be on. So I guess I'll believe it when I see it. But in full transparency, of course, I will be watching that interview 100%. I'm very, very curious as to what's going to be said there. We'll kind of keep the topics regarding the economy just for the purpose of this stream. You know, I know we all have our own opinions on, you know, other issues, but Joe is like kind of like a hippy dippy kind of guy. So I think he's going to get Trump to open up a little bit more than other interviewers have. And maybe we'll get some interesting questions and, like, I don't want to say radical questions, but I want Joe Rogan to ask Trump what he thinks about universal basic income. Right? What does he think about a single payer? Look at all these bikes. So I'm getting distracted, but look at all these bikes here. Crazy. I want him to ask like the crazy, like Bernie Sanders-esque questions on the economy to see what the reaction is. There must probably be like 200 different bicycles riding around right now. Brad says he is, but is it live? I don't even know. I honestly have no idea. Alan says yes, he will. But aside from Trump, I'm just really hyped about the market. I mean, this is the strongest market ever. But like, my God, this is crazy with look at all these bikes. It's crazy. This is insane. Phil says, wait, I thought the economy was bad according to Trump. This is the strongest market I've ever traded through in my life. It's like chaos here. All right, let's continue on. Well, if you're gonna get out for a bike ride, you might as well do it now because it's gonna get cold soon, everyone. I mean, I'm wearing a t-shirt. I'm wearing a t-shirt solely for the fact that it's still 60 degrees out, and I'm very, very thankful for that. So I'm gonna start rocking the t-shirt as long as I can, because sooner or later we are going to be walking around in a winter jacket, unfortunately. But anyway, so some market stats here. This is, get ready for it, here's a dose of optimism for all of you. 2024, the election year, so far, right, year to date, there's still about 2 months left in the year, but so far this is the strongest year for the S&P 500 during an election year ever, so far. We are on track for the strongest year in the market as it relates to the performance in the S&P 500 during an election year in history. This is like very, very positive here. And last year the S&P 500 gained over 20% and on track, right? I don't want to jinx anything, but so far the S&P is on track to close up over 20% again. So we could potentially get 2 years back to back 20% plus returns for the S&P 500. That's insane. That's insane. And by the way, here's another interesting fact for all of you. Usually when you have back-to-back years of, I would say, outsized returns, that is very reminiscent of early bull market action. I'll say that again. An early cyclical bull market, that's very, very reminiscent of that. You could go back and look at the performance right at the lows of the 2008 financial crisis. You had that massive rally off the bottom, and then you essentially have what I like to call a gap and go, right? So it's very important that we watch all these factors here. Corporate earnings so far, just let me get around this dog here. Corporate earnings have come in fantastic, particularly the financial sector. And don't get too negative on the market. I mean, this is as good as it gets for equity performance. Yeah, Brad's brains, the AI bubble is still a limp balloon. Shane, thank you so much for your $2 donation. Says, can you show the Broadway Theater? I'm not too sure what the Broadway Theater is, but if you're talking about the Ed Sullivan Theater, I can show you that, yes, and I'll actually show you that right now. Roger says, if it's as good as it gets, you'd be selling though. Nope. Yeah, it's true. The Russell 2000 is still in a little bit of a hole. Now, the IWM, if you look at the ETF that tracks the Russell, the IWM is like trying to break out, but we have a little bit of a problem. The problem is this. Now, the Federal Reserve cut the Fed funds rate by 50 basis points, but the market has been completely disagreeing with the Fed. Right now, many people think that, you know, if the Federal Reserve, if they cut the Fed funds rate, interest rates are just going to automatically go down. That's not the case, right? The market, the free market, determines interest rates. And right now, the market is disagreeing with the Fed and is potentially forecasting a second wave or an uptick in inflation. We've had a monster rally in the 10-year US Treasury and really the entire yield curve. I mean, for anybody who's in real estate right now, I, for one, am in real estate. I'm sure many of you own real estate or sell it or just have real estate assets. The 30-year fixed rate mortgage right now is significantly higher. I'll say that again, significantly higher. Not just higher, but significantly higher than prior to the rate cut. The 30-year fixed generally follows a similar trajectory to the 10-year US Treasury yield. And we're over, what is it, 4.25 on the 10-year right now? I mean, bonds have been getting absolutely hammered and yields have been blowing off. So yields are much higher now than they were prior to the rate cut, which is crazy. Shane, thank you so much for your very generous $20 donation. Because the Broadway Theater is next to the Ed Sullivan Theater. Well, thank you so much for your support, and let's head there now. I just wanted to show you the outside of Central Park Tower, 217 West 57th Street. Once again, Central Park Tower developed by Xtel. But Shane, thank you so much. Let's go to the Ed Sullivan Theater right now. So the reason why I bring that up about interest rates is because, generally speaking, small caps or small cap companies, which are really zombie companies, unfortunately, they tend to perform well in a lower interest rate environment. And the reason for that is because many companies in the Russell 2000 have extreme debt loads, massive amounts of debt that are often fixed, or excuse me, that are often floating or adjustables. So as interest rates go up, it's going to take a lot more allocation of revenue to debt servicing than it would if interest rates are very low. So the catalyst, I think, one could say, is if you're if you're a portfolio manager and you're betting that interest rates are going to come down over the long term, well, then maybe you can get long the IWM, the Russell 2000, because generally speaking, that'll act as a little bit of wind in the sails of small caps. But it's been tough. I've been kind of whipped in and out of the Russell 2000 a little bit, and I've kind of given up on that trade and really allocated towards companies that are generating earnings, right? It's interesting, but it's kind of what it is. Alan's sorry to bring politics up, just confirming something you asked. The spokesperson for Harris confirmed she will not be doing the Joe Rogan podcast. Got it. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I've been hearing like 50 million different things about which presidential candidate is going to go on Joe Rogan or not. But yeah, I mean, I would watch either or. Hey, Mark Summers, what's up? Says good evening, everybody. Happy Thursday. Tom, what's up, Mark? Welcome back to New York City. Here's a cool view of 220 Central Park South and Central Park Tower here. Angel says thoughts on Tesla earnings tomorrow. Tesla earnings were yesterday. But yeah, we pretty much spent the first hour of the show going over Tesla's earnings, and they were absolutely stellar. Absolutely stellar. You have, I think, 20% margins now on autos. You have 30.5% margins on the energy storage business. And you have roughly 8% margins on the services business. So, and Tesla now has about a $35 billion cash pile. So Tesla's rocking. There's a lot of positive things. Earnings were beat. I think they missed slightly on revenue, but they beat on earnings. So the stock was up 10% after hours, ran an additional 10% today. I think the stock bottomed in April. This is West 55th Street. Hey, Mr. Bagman, what's up? Just had an amazing month-long California road trip with the family. Feels refreshing to see the big New York City via your feed, Tom. Hey, thanks so much. Wow, that sounds fun. California road trip. I've always said I'd love to go to San Diego, California. Big fan of California. Hey, NBA Elias, what's going on? RB, this is evening all. What's going on, RB? Cheers. NBA Elias, my parents bought their home in 1981 with an 18% mortgage rate. Wow. I just lost your comment. Today's home buyers don't know how good they have it. That's true, but also, I mean, what was the valuation of the house back in 1981? I think I've heard something crazy that I want to say when my grandparents bought their house on Long Island, I think they paid $15,000 or like $17,000. I mean, think about that for a second. For those of you who are New Yorkers and who are familiar with real estate prices on Long Island, New York, can you imagine a world where you could buy a house for $17,000 in Nassau County? That's just like, I can't even wrap my head around that. Which is a very good segue. Did anybody watch the recent Paul Tudor Jones interview with CNBC? Or was it Bloomberg? I forget. But who saw the Paul Tudor Jones, the PTJ interview? And the reason why we're going to talk about that, number one, if you didn't watch that interview with Paul Tudor Jones, that is like a must. Even if you watch this show and you don't care about finance and you don't care about the markets, that is a requirement, okay? If you are subscribed to the channel, you gotta watch the Paul Tudor Jones interview, just because it's like, it's so paramount to really everything that we've been seeing, irregardless of your politics, right? You know, it's going to continue. And number two, I would say, if you have not watched the Bill Ackman interview on CNBC with Andrew Ross Sorkin, that is also a must. Because what all of the big players and all of this, I would say, quote unquote, smart money is saying and essentially identifying is that there is really no way out of our crazy national debt problem. This is the Ed Sullivan Theater, by the way, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. So there's no way out of the debt problem. The only way out, I know that's kind of like I'm contradicting myself, but I'll get to the point. The only way out is to grow our way out, which essentially means to make the valuation of your assets worth significantly more so you can pay down the debt. But that is highly inflationary, and it is very, very detrimental to the lowest rung on the socioeconomic status ladder, I should say. And that's been going on for the last decade. I've written many articles about this. You can check out all of our articles by typing !news in the chat. and signing up for our Substack, it's really gotten to be two-tier society, the extreme haves and the extreme have-nots. So the point I'm trying to make is to kind of tie it back into the housing conversation. Over time, the valuation of hard assets are only going to go up. Only going to go up. That's why you're seeing gold ramping, $2,700 an ounce for gold. Okay, you're seeing Bitcoin ramping. I think $67,000 per Bitcoin right now. You're also seeing silver really getting on and ramping, and platinum and palladium. Okay, so whoever is elected president, they're going to have to be very accommodative fiscally, and they're going to have to push the Fed to ease as well, which is going to be very bullish for assets and hard assets like real estate, precious metals, things like that. So very important. All right, I think this is the Broadway Theater here. Shane, thank you so much. Is the Broadway Theater is the green sign? I think this is it right here. The Great Gatsby, the musical. Hey, Mike G, what's up? Hey, Tom, glad you're back. Jumping on late after a Zoom call. Hopefully you close some deals or close some business. Thanks for joining us. But if you guys are enjoying the live stream tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you are new. But yeah, those two interviews is like a must watch and a must listen. Bill Ackman, CNBC, and the recent Paul Tudor Jones interview. We have no choice but to grow our way out of this problem. I believe the national debt right now is 35 trillion, something crazy. I mean, what's a few trillion here or there? So they're going to have to inflate this thing, okay? And you not only have the Federal Reserve easing, you now have the two largest central banks on planet Earth easing very aggressively, which is number one, the Federal Reserve here in the US, and number two, the PBOC, the People's Bank of China, is going to have to throw everything they can to save the Chinese economy. So this is going to be like, it could very possibly be a big melt up here. I don't know. And what's anybody's take on that? Anybody have a take that disagrees with that? I mean, I'm open to all opinions, but generally speaking, I think that that's going to be the case. We're going to have to grow our way out of this, which is going to be very inflationary. Hang with Mark Mom says the national debt has been a concern since I was a teenager. They have been saying Social Security will be gone, and look at me now. I'm ready to collect. Yeah, I know. Well, the problem is, I don't think the national debt will be a problem in the sense that it'll be a cataclysmic, societal collapse like everybody's predicting, right? It's just going to be, you're just going to have a continuation of what we've been seeing, which is runaway inflation. Now, you may not be seeing the runaway inflation in CPI, right? In terms of like goods and services and things like that. But asset prices have gone to Mars. And the problem is, again, if you look at the percentage of Americans who own the vast majority of assets in this country, the top 99%, or excuse me, the top 1% owns about 99% of the assets, or excuse me, the top 10% owns about 99% of all the assets that are being inflated. Jack says you'll own nothing and be happy unless you got some, that's why you got to own things, you got to invest. NG's Social Security will be gone, question mark. I don't think Social Security will ever be gone, but what is the value of the Social Security, right? If you get a $2,000 a month Social Security check by the time I'm 70, that's going to be worth rice and beans, right? I'll probably be able to buy one Big Mac and get E. coli while I'm eating the Big Mac. So that's going to be my social security. That's my safety net, is one Big Mac with the risk of E. coli. So the point is, it's not that it's going to go away, it's the value of the money is going to trend towards zero. And it's not, to be like a fear monger, that's just the truth. I mean, fiat currency trends, the purchasing power trends towards zero over time. That's why you have to invest your money. If you just save your money your entire life, and you never invest it into real estate, you never invest it into equities, you never invest it into a business, well, the money is going to trend towards zero in terms of purchasing power. That's really about it. This is the Din Tai Fund. Shan says, won't it get adjusted for inflation? Yes, but the calculations, if we want to get very deep into the weeds, the real rate of inflation is not CPI in my view. It's much, much higher. I mean, we can get into a whole conversation. Now, when everybody here who owns a home or who rents something, I'm sure over the last 3 years your rent went up. I'm sure your car insurance went up. I'm sure your medical insurance went up. I'm sure your homeowner's insurance went up. I'm sure your property taxes have gone up, right? So that's the real number, right? Since I bought my property, the first year my property taxes were around $4,500. They're $8,000. I just paid the property taxes out of the escrow account. It's $8,000, and my homeowner's insurance is $4,000 a year. Okay, so it's up over 100% for me. So that's my real level of inflation. I mean, if I had a car, I'm sure in the state of Florida, my car insurance would have gone up at least by 20% year over year. Oh, nice. Mikey G says 401k and pension has allowed me to retire early. That's awesome. Congratulations on your success, by the way. Hey, Carl Roth, cheers to you. Hopefully you're doing well in Canada. Hey, Tech says it's going to be almost $1,000 just to renew my registration on my truck in Colorado. Really? Wow. I mean, I don't drive, but is that normal? $1,000 just to renew a registration? That seems a bit excessive, right? So I have two, I'm just trying to see what I can compare this to. I have two Vespas down in Miami, and when I had to get my new tags, I think it cost me $50 a pop. But damn, $1,000 for the registration. Hey, Mom. It's wild. Trying to navigate all the counterfeit goods sales. Which, by the way, there was just a massive raid on Canal Street. Not sure if you guys saw that, but I think one of you guys sent it to me. There was the largest raid ever in New York City history on Canal Street just last week. I think they said over $35 million worth of counterfeit goods were seized from all of these people that are now selling the counterfeit goods up here. Peter's registration for a car in Tennessee is $25. Texas, Colorado is the highest in the nation, and it is calculated by weight of the vehicle and the model. Wow, that's crazy. I think that's a huge grift. That's just like theft. I wouldn't even consider that like a registration fee. I would just consider that the state of Colorado is stealing $1,000 from you. That's ridiculous. Look at this. Looks like there's a big line for something. Maybe like a Halloween party? Hang with Mark Moms is Tom. Colorado was where I lived for 5 years before we left. I made a profit on my home now. That's good. It's really good news. Hey DP, thank you so much for joining tonight. I do appreciate you. Oh, you guys are gonna get a kick out of this. So let's go ahead and walk over to Radio City Music Hall. I was looking at this today. My jaw almost fell on the floor, I swear to God. So I was walking down 6th Avenue today, just kind of hanging out. I was on a conference call. I like to kind of walk around. Yikes, almost got hit by a car. They already put the Christmas tree up on top of Radio City Music Hall. It's not even Halloween, and they already put the Christmas tree up. It's crazy. All right, I think we've had enough of Times Square tonight, even though we didn't kind of go in the heart, or as I like to call it, the belly of the beast. I have zero mental fortitude to deal with Times Square tonight, unfortunately. So we will go ahead and head over to Rockefeller Center as we look at the old Lehman Brothers right here, which is now Barclays. This is 7th Avenue. And this is looking directly into Times Square. Pretty soon, before you know it, we're going to be doing our New Year's Eve live stream, which is absolutely crazy. I can't believe that. 2 months away from 2025. Insane. 2024 has been an amazing year. I think 2025 is going to be even better. If you thought 2024 was just an absolute rip your face off, spectacular year, 2025, you're going to need to pick your face up, stitch it back on, because it's going to get blown off again. That's how fantastic the year's going to be. There's going to be so much opportunity that I can't even talk about it right now because I'm going to start shaking. That's how unbelievable 2025 is going to be. I'm already starting on the 2025 Outlook newsletter, which is going to be very, very lengthy. We're going to be talking about some interesting thematic ideas for 2025. And we'll also do a post-analysis on our 2023 looking into 2024 thematic essay. And we hit on a lot of interesting thematic trade ideas. We did miss the mark on a few, but nobody can predict the future. MBA Elias says, Tom, any ideas or thoughts on where we will be streaming on election night? It's tough. I was thinking about it. Assuming I am in New York, I really would like to do something. I really, really would. I would really like to do something. My only concern is that the chat is probably going to be overwhelmed with just nonsense, as you could imagine. So maybe what I'm thinking of doing is not live streaming on this channel, just to kind of, you know, save some of the mental craziness. And maybe we will be live on our second channel. So we'll see. This is Del Frisco's. Looks like it's under construction. But election day is going to be very, very fun. New York City is going to be rocking on election day.
There he is!
This is Del Frisco's, one of my favorite places of all time in New York. It's not the best food, but it's the best environment. If you want to have a good time with clients or friends, take them to Del Frisco's. You will not be disappointed. I mean, the dining room is absolutely beautiful. You have the upper level, which I would suggest sitting. This is where I sit. You have the lower level. But look at that. You have a beautiful view of Radio City Music Hall. I mean, you can't get better than this. This is like amazing New York City. Right across the street from Rockefeller Center. Del Frisco, it's fantastic. JJ's, this is an Italian food. No, it's a steakhouse. My personal favorite in New York. Again, it's not the best steak you'll ever eat, but it's the best environment. And you'll see, look at that. The spire of the Empire State Building in red in the distance. And all of this is brand new. Look at that. Brand new subway entrance, everything. Hey, Mark Summers is taking the whole family to New York City mid-December. Looking forward to it. You're gonna have an awesome time. Oh, I forgot, I'm going the wrong way. Guys, you gotta check this out. So, they already have the Christmas tree up here. Alan's is the second channel live. It's not live yet. It's gonna be live very soon. And I know I've been saying that, but it will be live very soon. And we're gonna be posting videos on the second channel and Substack, but more so actually on the Substack. I'm gonna try to do some experiments with the Substack podcasting platform, and that's solely gonna be the financial market focus. So it's not gonna be walking around the city, it's just gonna be behind the desk. But check this out, guys. The Radio City Music Hall Christmas tree is already up. Now it's not lit up, they just put it up. We'll get a little bit closer. It's crazy, right? I was walking past this today. I couldn't believe it. I was like, already? I don't remember it ever this early. And by the way, the Christmas Spectacular starring the Radio City Rockettes, they already have the holiday decorations. You can see the Christmas wreaths, everything. So we've officially we've skipped over Halloween. I'm not really a big Halloween guy, but as a tradition, I love going to Washington Square Park on Halloween, just because there's some interesting characters. But if you guys are interested in that second channel, mainly it's going to be focused on finance. We're going to post the majority of those videos to our Substack. So you can do so by scanning the QR code, punching in your email, and that'll take you right to our Substack, where we're going to be posting usually like market update videos in addition to the newsletter. And in 2025, we'll be doing interviews with some hedge fund managers. We'll be taking questions from the audience. It's going to be big. We have a lot of interesting stuff planned for 2025. You can see a little bit of the spire of the World Trade Center in the distance. Let's go around to Fifth Avenue and we'll see what they got going on outside of St. Patrick's. Cryptos, is crypto or just stocks? Oh, it's going to be everything. Commodities. I think crypto is going to be one of the top themes for 2025. So it'd be impossible not to at least talk about it. I think we have to go up one more because there's a dead zone for the internet here. SLA says, I think election night could see trouble. I don't know, I was thinking about it and I'll give you my take. There's too many people out there that think there's going to be something crazy that's going to go down on election day and election night. Almost everybody is expecting that. This is Neuberger Berman, by the way. I'll take the QR code down. But everyone is expecting, including myself, by the way, some craziness and some political unrest, fighting, protests, mobs. Maybe even you'll see the occasional fiery but mostly peaceful protest. But everyone's expecting that. And if everyone is expecting that, that means it probably will not happen. So I think, to be a contrarian, this will probably be one of the most easy, simplified, systematic, and interestingly normal elections in US history. That's my total 180 take from this. Now maybe I'm wrong, but there's too many people that think this is going to be like a disaster. So I think it's going to be quite normal, and I don't think there's going to be any type of craziness. That's my take. It's always the most unexpected outcome that is the outcome. Jeans is not going to watch election day or night. I actually am. It's very, very entertaining. It's very, very entertaining. And I'm not a big political guy, but it's fun. It's exciting. It's exciting to see, which states are going to turn red, which states are going to turn blue. It's actually pretty exciting. All the garbage. Crazy, right? rows of scaffolding. You know, kind of bringing it back to the economy. Oh, but more importantly than the economy and the US presidential election, I got to tell you about this coffee shop right here. This is called Watch House. No exaggeration. If you're visiting New York, check this place out. This is my new go-to place. It's called Watch House. They have some of the best coffee I've ever had in my entire life. And they have the best chocolate croissants ever. I was here with a friend who works at Newburger Berman, literally right there. It's right across the street from his office. This place is unbelievable. Watch House. It's open from 7 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. daily. It's on 52nd Street, in between 5th and Avenue of the Americas. The place is awesome. So. But you know, segueing back to the economy, there are people on both sides, right, that say, hey, if Kamala Harris is elected, the economy is going to tank, you know, your 401ks are going to go to zero, this and that. And then there's people on the other side that say, hey, you know, if Trump gets in, he's going to crash the economy because of the tariffs and this and that, blah, 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 blah. I think both of them are wrong. I think both sides are wrong because, you know, and I'm trying to be like apolitical as possible. I just care about the market. I just care about making money, right? I know that sounds harsh, but that's kind of what this show is about. It's a money show, right? We talk about the markets. Now, you got to think about liquidity, right? Liquidity drives asset prices. And right now, we are entering the very early innings of a new bull market in global liquidity. While at the same time, you have major central banks from around the world that are starting to ease. While you have a $35 trillion national debt in the United States. The only way out of this, right, the consensus has been, and this is kind of what the market is telling us, is we're going to need to grow our way out of this, so they're going to need to juice the economy to make the valuation of the assets higher. And I think that comes at a perfect time of AI, of innovation. So this is quite possibly the very, very early innings of a secular bull market. Very, very early innings of a secular bull market that's going to be driven by massive, massive fiscal and monetary stimulus globally. So I disagree with both takes that says, hey, if you know, Kamala Harris gets in, she's going to crash the economy and the stock market's going to go down, you know, 60%. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are already in the White House. Like, people need to realize that, right? She's already in. They're already in. Okay, the incompetence is already in, and the market is at all-time record highs, and the market's performed. This is one of the strongest markets I've ever traded in my life. Okay. It's going to be fine. The problem that I see, right, and this is kind of where it gets political, is not really the economic side of the house. It's more, you know, the stuff that we don't talk about on this show, which is the non-economic stuff. So the government is going to spend. We're not going to rein in spending. It's not going to happen. Okay. Trump is not going to, you know, cut government spending. It's not happening. You know, even if they fire half the employees and do government efficiency, we're still going to spend more money. It's just what's going to happen. That is my opinion. And you can guarantee that a Harris-Walz administration will spend more money. And that is very positive for asset prices. So I think whoever gets in, whoever wins, it'll perform really, really well, the market. We just got some breaking news just before I started the live stream. It looks like US GDP is going to be revised even higher. So we got about a 3% GDP print. Well, the previous GDP print was revised higher, 3% annually. Just get away from the loud noises. Crazy. The Peninsula Hotel right now, the people that are staying there, they're spending over $1,000 a night, and it sounds like they're in the middle of like the Battle of the Bulge in World War II. 50 cows flying over their head. It's wild. Anyway, I think the moral of the story, right? We could all have our political opinions. Maybe you support Harris. Maybe you support Trump. Maybe you support J.D. Vance. Maybe you support Walz. That's fine. But the most important thing, as we almost get hit by this car, is don't let your political biases screw with your investment thesis. I have a lot of buddies who are really big, I should say, GOP Trumpers that missed out on one of the most powerful bull markets we've ever had. They're severely underinvested just because of who's president of the United States. Who cares who's president of the United States? Okay? Focus on where's corporate earnings, where were they last year, what are they set to come in this year, and what are the estimates for next year? That's your focus. Your focus is, what was GDP last year, what's it trending towards this year, and where's it going next year, right? GDP growth has a very, very high correlation with the direction of the S&P 500. We talk about this, right? If we get a positive GDP print, 70% of the time, the S&P 500 will be positive 6 months later. So as an investor, okay, the market knows all, okay? The pundits on CNBC, the pundits on Fox News, they don't know anything. They're just talking heads. Rachel Maddow doesn't know anything, okay? I can guarantee you that. Jesse Waters, he doesn't know anything. I can guarantee you that. In terms of the economy and where the market's gonna go. Me, I don't know. But the only one who does know is the market itself. So focus on the fundamentals that drive the market. Where's GDP growth? Where is corporate earnings growth? This is all publicly available information. And corporate earnings have gone through the roof under the Biden administration, right? So key all of that nonsense out. If Trump gets back in the White House, it's the same game plan for us. We're focusing on earnings. We're focusing on GDP growth. That's our focus, okay? If Trump is in. If Harris is in, that's our focus. Earnings, and GDP growth, okay? As it relates to the market. All the other stuff, right, that relates to like the societal issues, go ahead, bicker, fight about it. But when it comes to your money, don't let the societal issues, the abortion nonsense, you know, LGBT, all this stuff, that's fine. Do that what you want, but don't let that get in the way of your portfolio performance. And with that, I have to go back to work. Kaka Silva, thank you so much for your 50 Norwegian kroner donations. Says, hey Tom, is Kathy Wood getting, getting on, she bought Okla. I'm not too sure. Kaka Silva, let me get back to you on that. But thank you for your donation. I appreciate your kindness. Let me do some research on that. I have no idea what Kathy Wood bought. Is that a nuclear energy company? I'm not too sure. But I appreciate you. Thank you for the support. If you send me an email, I will get back to you and I will do research and diligence on that, and I will send you a hell of an email. But thank you very much. So Mars Tech, I appreciate it. Gary Carpenter, Young Savage 405, Mr. G-Man, thank you. Mohammed, I appreciate it. Hang with Mark Mom. Leslie, thank you so much. Janice S, thank you very much. New England Crypto, I appreciate it. TK Porsche, all of our moderators. Once again, guys, if you want to support our work for free, all of our equity research is published every other Thursday. You can scan the QR code on your screen. Sign up to our Substack. We're going to have videos coming very, very soon. Stay safe, stay positive. It's not the end of the world. The best is yet to come. Trust me on that. Trust me. Don't let the media steal and rob these amazing opportunities that are coming. Okay, the best is yet to come. We're going to make a fortune. Everything is going to be great. I'll see you guys later.